Guys, you have to see what's happening in the cryptocurrency market. I had to make this Sunday update because while Bitcoin is consolidating under the symmetrical triangle, showing a little bit of weakness, we're seeing brand new yearly highs for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. Even as we're making this video, you can see new highs right now for Ethereum to Bitcoin. I want to talk about what this means for Ethereum because you can see on the US dollar chart for Ethereum, we're still kind of stuck in this bearish flag. And so a lot of you guys are asking me, how does Satoshi value matter when it comes to these altcoins against Bitcoin? This all has to do with Bitcoin dominance and others' dominance. We're going to cover those on this video today. But more importantly, I want you guys to see this again. TradingView is confirming a massive head and shoulder pattern on Bitcoin's daily chart. You can see here, if this completes a highlighted pattern, it is a valid pattern. And you can see exactly as we're showing here, we've got this monthly open acting as a neckline for this massive head and shoulder pattern that could potentially take us all the way down to the previous all-time high here, and that could even break us down below that all-time high. And we've also got a CME gap at 23,795. I want to talk about the bearish and bullish perspective for Bitcoin right now because this will most definitely influence what Ethereum does in the next couple of days into the next couple of weeks. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Abaidi. If you appreciate this content, remember to like this video. Let's just dive first into Bitcoin's analysis because what Bitcoin does to the US dollar, Ethereum will mimic to the US dollar. However, Ethereum will most likely hold up better than Bitcoin right now, being that number one, we're in altcoin season, but number two, the chart is showing one of the most bullish patterns I've ever seen in the cryptocurrency market. You can see on this weekly chart, Ethereum is breaking out from a pattern that dates back to 2017. So realize that if you want to maintain your dollars, Ethereum might be a better hedge against Bitcoin right now. And understand that when we're looking at Bitcoin's head and shoulder right now, we've seen a lot of weakness when it comes to Bitcoin seeing support at that monthly open, which we all expected that to happen. If you guys watched our video 3 days ago, we had this target here even before we broke down from the symmetrical triangle. And of course, that bounced here, but we've yet to test this major resistance level. Us reversing before a retest is weakness, in my opinion. And so understand that at this point for Bitcoin, we're at a very, very critical time. We have to see Bitcoin close hourly candles above this daily open, but most importantly, we have this weekly open. I don't even care about the symmetrical triangle anymore. I care about this weekly open that's going to reset tomorrow. And so if you guys are watching the Snipers channel, you know I'm going to always keep the weekly and monthly open on our chart, and that's always going to be a green line. So if you guys are not subscribed to our channel, remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, turn on those post notifications so you can get your updates first when it comes to our new videos. But realize that if we do not come up to this weekly open, which is sitting at 35,800, and start closing hourly candles above this weekly open, Bitcoin is going to stay in a head and shoulder pattern that could potentially break us down to the previous all-time high of 20,000 US dollars, because I don't think that if this head and shoulder breaks down, we're only going to stop here at the CME gap of 23,795. We very well may have a beautiful long trade here because it may act as support, but will most likely, based on the schematics that I showed you earlier, come down towards this previous all-time high and maybe even a little bit below it. And so understand that I don't want to be a bear, I just want to be an umpire, which is a neutral position, right? And realize if we still see weakness here and we're not closing hourly candles above this weekly open, which would also put us back above this resistance level, then things are pretty weak for Bitcoin. And this head and shoulder, as TradingView validated, not me, this is coming straight from the horse's mouth, TradingView validated a head and shoulder pattern right now on this daily chart for Bitcoin. So we have to address all of these parts and these moving parts that all influence the cryptocurrency market as a whole. And so if this breaks down, I believe Ethereum will most likely also break down from this bearish flag here. You can see this formed a higher high. That's a bearish pattern. Of course, the macro is still very bullish, but you can see the consolidation is bearish. And so there's a higher chance this breaks to the downside than the upside. Now we are above this weekly open, and I'll go ahead and highlight this because this is going to reset tomorrow. So we'll keep this weekly open here on Ethereum's chart for you guys into next week as we make our daily videos, because understand that this weekly open will act as either a support or resistance. You can see it's already kind of acted as a resistance here. It's acted as a support here. It's acted as a support. And so with Ethereum to US dollar, if we start closing any hourly candles below this weekly open, which is sitting at right around 1,222, I would say exit those long positions because we'll most likely come to retest this bear flag support, and that will most likely break us down. And then we have the monthly open sitting at $740 roughly, and that would be the target of the downside for Ethereum to US dollar. Now, this could all change if Bitcoin shows some strength, if we start to see volume come in. So far, very little volume, so we haven't yet seen that, but this could all change if we start to see bullish momentum for Bitcoin. If not, then I have that downside target here of 744 Ethereum, and I think that we'll most likely see Bitcoin see further retracement percentage-wise. However, Ethereum will be your best bet to hold because Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is still very bullish, and regardless of whether or not US dollar charts go up or down, I think this chart will continue to the upside and continue bullish because it's such a massive breakout, such a massive symmetrical triangle that dates back to 2017. And check this out, this will blow your mind. Bitcoin dominance. It's funny, on the Discord, Adonis said, Bitcoin obviously does not even care about any of these support levels, and he's so right. Bitcoin dominance just smashing through the 50 period and 100 period weekly moving average. I think that we'll see a bounce here, and if we do bounce, that means that Bitcoin could potentially see its dominance increase, and we could see a little bit of a dump with altcoins. I think that's highly probable because we saw a massive breakdown of Bitcoin dominance, and we actually broke down from this descending triangle that we predicted on one of our videos 2 weeks ago. That is pretty much irrelevant at this point, so we'll delete that. But we saw resistance here, we saw a higher high form, and this makes sense because, of course, with DeFi right now, $20+ billion is locked up in DeFi, and that's very, very bullish for altcoins because most of these DeFi projects are built on Ethereum, and then you have all of these chains that are built on Ethereum that are holding a lot of this liquidity, and so understand that's very bullish for Ethereum. We've yet to see projects like Cardano and Polkadot really adopt mass use case like Ethereum, but we know that Ethereum has massive use case with DeFi, and so I'm not surprised that we saw a violent turn when it comes to dominance, where altcoins just out of nowhere saw massive dominance increase, and we're seeing new all-time highs for coins like Link, and Ethereum is testing its previous all-time high. I think that will break most likely at some point. The real question is whether or not we'll come down to $700 first before that breaks, but understand that with Bitcoin dominance, we are on the decline. This weekly candle is going to close, and I think we'll see a potential push to the upside when it comes to Bitcoin dominance. That's why if you guys are in our Discord, we did take a Bitcoin long today, and that already hit its entry. You can see, I think we already hit our first target on that. I will cover some altcoin trades, and I'll also even look at an Amazon trade that I took for our stock trades, because Amazon, we got a very nice entry, and I'm very excited about that trade. But I want to teach a little bit on this video because we have a little bit more time than usual, being that it's Sunday and traditional markets and future markets are closed. So I will go into some trading strategies towards the end of this video, but realize that with Bitcoin dominance right now, we are on the decline. I think we'll retrace at some point before we test the 200 period, and then others dominance. You can see we had just come up and tested the 50 period moving average. That's very good for altcoins, but at some point or another, like any chart, you know, everything that goes up has to come down at some point. I think that if we start to see weakness with altcoins, this monthly open is going to be a key level for us to enter into some of our favorite altcoins like Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, and that could show confluence with the potential downside target for Ethereum at 740, but that's all going to be dependent on the mother horse, which is Bitcoin. So we're going to be watching Bitcoin to see what happens with that, but understand that so far we're seeing resistance at this 50 period moving average. That's very important to highlight. And other than that, I want to talk about some altcoin trades that we're taking. We actually took this BAT BTC trade. Of course, for those that use the Brave browser, you guys are familiar with the basic attention token. I want to talk about why we entered this trade and understand some of the mindset behind trading, because you guys will learn a lot from this. So if we pull up this chart, you can see we entered here at this red line, 785 Satoshis, right before this major breakout. A lot of you guys might ask me, well, why did we enter this trade? How did I know it was going to break out? Well, first and foremost, when you pull up this daily chart, realize that we entered this trade on the 20th of January, which means we entered right here. And the reason I entered was because guess what? What's the most important part of trading? Market structure, number one, and I'll talk about the Amazon trade based on market structure. But number two is price action and volume. Look at this massive buy volume that came out of nowhere. We knew it was altcoin season, so I sent out that trade. with an expectation that we'd at least test the 50-period moving average, because these moving averages are also key. You can see it acted as resistance in the past, and so I knew that we'd at least come up there and we'd hit some targets, but that eventually turned out into even a nicer trade with a beautiful entry. And so that was a pure volume play right there with the BAT chart, and then also realize that the weekly open has a huge influence on price action. And so typically with a weekly open, you can see with this specific chart, this also had an influence on why I entered the position here on the 20th. It was because the weekly open was sitting right here, and it started right here, and we just kind of stayed at that weekly open. Anytime you just stick around the weekly open and you have a cup of coffee, there's most likely another destination. I wasn't assuming that destination was going to be down because it was altcoin season, and so that all factored into the play, and that's why we took that trade, and that's why it already resulted in over 30% profits, and that's on spot. So on leverage, that's hundreds of percents of profits. And then look at this Amazon trade. We entered at 3,114, right at the bottom of this symmetrical triangle that's forming. I was super excited about this trade because I think that potentially this could break out and we could see even new highs for Amazon. Of course, we don't just trade crypto, we also trade stocks, and so I personally sent this specific trade out with an entry at 3114 on the 19th, and so this was the 19th when we entered. It was right here. I saw that we were testing this major support level, and we've already resulted in massive profits for this trade. And the lesson here for those that just trade crypto is market structure is key, and so understand that and realize that. But I'm most excited about this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, as you guys saw in my video 2 days ago, and I said it's the most bullish chart I've ever seen in the cryptocurrency market, and that's true. And so super exciting stuff. It's a Sunday. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, but realize that what happens to Bitcoin over the next week is going to be critical to seeing what happens to Ethereum and some of these other altcoins, and I will keep you guys updated as always. Remember to like this video if you appreciate this content, and subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the Discord. Snipers out.